Hi, Tiffanie Kellog here. Thanks for joining us for one of our interview series. As we're stuck at home with social distancing, it's an opportunity for us to learn more so we can earn more. Hope you enjoy. Hey everybody, Tiffanie Kellog here, and I am being joined today by Julie Shopa, who is going to talk to us about budgeting your profits first. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest. Julie has a vision to take teams of experts around the world to places that are economically challenged. She believes there are locals in these places who already have a great idea what could bring hope and positive economic change, and they're just praying for resources and expertise. She wants to be a part of the answer to those prayers. She graduated from Penn State with a degree in finance and is an advanced certified pro advisor with QuickBooks, providing training and troubleshooting for business professionals since 2000. She is also a certified Profit First professional, and today she's going to talk to us a little bit about budgeting, which I thought was super important in the economic that we're in, with money being an issue for many people. So Julie, welcome.
Thank you. Budgeting is really important. Lately, a lot of the topics of conversation have been all of the financial aid and the loans and the disaster loans and the paycheck protection plan, all of that type of thing. So budgeting starts to get even more important. If you're going to think about borrowing money, you want to have a plan for paying that back. So
wait, you mean they're going to give us money, but we have to give it back?
Probably. Actually, all of it right now that I have heard about is actually starts out as a loan.
Yeah.
There's the potential of loan forgiveness if it's spent on the right things, but there's no guarantee that you'll probably have to pay it back. I would think
Yeah, it's interesting that everybody seems
you
to
should
think
certainly plan to
free money.
Yes, that is how people seem to be seeing it. I think that's because that's what we would all love to receive, free money. So, but yeah, it's important to look at how you're really going to sustain paying that back and keep your business going, and all of those pieces together. So, so it's more important than ever to talk about budgeting.
All right.
One of the tools that I really like to use is Profit First. So that's budgeting by looking at your profits. And it talks about taking like the regular generally accepted accounting principles way of looking at your financial statements is you have your revenue and then less expenses equals your profit. Well, we want to look at it as you've got your revenue, you take your profit out, make sure you keep that aside, and then you make sure your business runs on the expense, the amount of money that's left. That way your business stays profitable and sustainable and healthy. So that's when I first learned about Profit First, I was like, that totally makes sense. It should be obvious, and yet so many of us as entrepreneurs don't live that way at all. A lot of us are borrowing from a home equity line of credit, or cashing in 401 or retirement accounts just to pay payroll. That's not why we start a business. We don't start a business to lose money. We start a business to make money. So that's something that I really love. Just the author of Profit First, Mike Michalowicz's mission is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty, and I was like, I'm so aligned with that because so many, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
And I really think that's important, and that combined, it just rolls right into my I guess mission, I know, is to just not have bad bookkeeping hold anyone back because it's not necessary. Let's get that together. I can help, reach out for experts to help you. We're not meant to do stuff alone. So, I do have a slideshow. So
all right. I see Clarity Finances.
Finances, yes. It's your business. Shouldn't your profit come first? Yes, because that's why you start a business. One of the problems that challenges that I've come across is people have a different feeling. I guess it's a mindset issue of their view of profits. A lot of people really think of, if you're taking your profits first, that's selfish. Whereas I've always thought of it as that's healthy, because you have to have profits to sustain a business. But some people think of it like big corporate, they're making all those profits, and that's, they associate the word profit with bad, but that's not, that's not true. So it's really important. And this was the formula we talked about, sales minus expenses equals profit, but we want to switch that, flip that around. I'm hoping this. So one of the things that this slide talks about, Parkinson's law, and our demand upon a resource tends to expand to match the supply of that resource. And so this toothpaste picture, there's the illustration of like, you have a full tube of toothpaste and you go to brush your teeth, and like, you know, you put a nice long strip across that toothbrush and then brush your teeth, or maybe it falls off, you just put a new one on. Whereas when you're at the end, you're like squeezing out the last of it. You know, I mean, now we could probably equate it to like a toilet paper illustration. But this is kind of a human behavior thing. So if you apply this to your operating expense account and you know, whatever's in your bank account, if you don't see as much in there, you're going to make do and make what's there work. So that's where Profit First leverages human behavior by setting up additional accounts so that you only have in your operating account that which should healthfully be operating your business. I'm not sure if that's a word. So the bank account balance. See, this is all these like details. Let's see. Our profit. The thing is, that a lot of business owners really don't read their profit and loss. They're not. It's not something they're comfortable with. Like they look through it and they totally get it, and so they're looking at their bank balance, especially now with everything being online, electronic. People are on their phones. Oh, how much do I have? Yeah, I can pay that. So this is where, for people that are operating out of their checking account balance, using the Profit First system and setting up additional accounts and moving the money to the separate accounts and using that as a tool for budgeting is super helpful. So if you have that one account, you have all your income flows into one, and then you're transferring out by percentages, a portion for your profit, a portion to pay yourself because you should get paid, you're working hard, a portion for your taxes because when you have a profit, you do owe the government. You just want to make sure you're not paying more than you're supposed to, but you always have to pay something. And then the rest that is the operating, it gets transferred to the operating expense account. Then if you're going and you're checking that balance, then you know whether you really have the money in the long run to pay for the different things that you're buying. So that's Parkinson's law. So this way, bank balance accounting, as Mike Michalowicz refers to it, it's actually doable, and it can help you, and you can end up growing your business. People that I know who are using Profit First, some of my clients have been surprised that they were actually able to, like, didn't, you know, when they got into the swing of moving the money, they were almost surprised that the money just stayed there. And like, it's like, oh, look, you know, so it's actually,
it works.
Yeah. When you move it and it's out of sight, kind of out of sight, out of mind-ish, then you go back and there it is. I mean, for me, when I was implementing Profit First, I had to take it really slowly. And I mean, even Mike Michalowicz is one that inspired me to like start this way. He said, just start. Even if you just take 1%, set it up in one profit account and just do it and don't touch it. So I did. And lo and behold, at the end of the year, there was 1%, you know, just sitting there. And so, hey, I had set aside some money and, you know, guaranteed profit. So it's actually, you know, just starting and moving forward in it makes a huge difference. Let's see. Oh, this is about Clarity Finances. You've already told us about me. So this is the book. This is the old picture. Okay, so I need a new slide. The book that you know, what inspired me is I did hear Mike Michalowicz speak, and then this is the copy of the book that I got originally. And
I think that's the copy. I've got that version too.
Yes. And I read it on the plane. I was, you know, from the conference, read it on the plane home. I'm like, oh my gosh, my clients need this. I need this. Then I analyzed my own business and I was like, oh no, you know,
I need this.
Yes. So that's why, for me, I really did have to start slowly, because I had gotten to a point where I was not making a profit anymore. And so I analyzed my numbers, because my numbers were all up to date. I just hadn't really been paying attention to them. Got to do that. And I had hired an employee, and I found that basically all my profits were going to her to pay her. And while she was good at some of the things that she did, what I had originally hired her to help me do was to bring in more clients. And that wasn't happening, because that was supposed to fund, instead of saving the money or making sure that it was, that was supposed to fund her. So it was kind of like I was hoping. So that's another, Profit First has a way of, anticipating, like if you think you want to hire somebody and you're not sure if you can afford it, they're like, set up an account, put a percentage in, see if you can keep sustaining it. Well, then it must be affordable. Then you go and hire that person.
Okay.
So there's just very practical. It's not rocket science. There's nothing in here that is brand new. It's just packaged in a really nice way that leverages human behavior with simple methods of separating money so that it's not all in one place. So do we want to go into actually setting it up, like the different phases? Or do you have other things you want to?
What would be some of your tips? We've got this budgeting going on. What could be some of your tips for us? Maybe if we haven't started yet, maybe we're a little freaked out about getting deep into this. What would be some good beginner tips?
Well, I really would say, first of all, reading. I always tell people, like, start by reading the book. There is the first 2 chapters. He has a free PDF of the first 2 chapters. I have that. If someone wants to email me for that, Julie@clarityfinances.com, I'd be happy to send you a copy of that. But I would say, really set up that separate account and just stick 1%. 1% really doesn't feel like much if you do it as it's coming in, like every other, like twice a month. It would be the recommended times that you do these transfers and look at your bills is the 10th. They say the 10th and the 25th. It would, you could tweak that depending on due dates you might have in your, with your own finances. But the advantage of actually staying with the 10th and the 25th or a specific, like 2 times a month type of thing, you start to see how your cash is really flowing, and you get more of a feel for it than you do if you're every day, like, messing with stuff. But
what would you say to somebody if they're like, I'm not bringing in much revenue at all right now and I can't pay my bills?
I would still try and stick the 1% in there and pay your.
I mean, even if you're making $100 this month, it's $1. Will it make that big of a difference? But I mean, that for some people, yeah.
It's the habit of it. It's like getting into the habit of it, even if it's really, really small. Because right now you might not be bringing in much money, but of course, are all hopeful that things are going to get better. So, and some industries are booming now because of what's going on, but other industries, the people that stay visible and stay in touch with their clients and maintain through this time are going to be the ones that rise and will have more money later. So to stay with that habit, start that habit now. I think it's worth it anyway, even, and you might want to pay yourself before you pay, like negotiate with some of your vendors. We're all going to probably be looking at how can we, maybe postpone making payments or, negotiate with our vendors and our clients and ways to help on both sides. So
yeah, so I remember because last year I was talking to Julie and going through this Profit First thing, and part of that is cutting your expenses. So what tips do you have on negotiating with our vendors with cutting our expenses? Because while we may not have as much control about what's coming in, we might have some about what's going out. So what tips or tricks do you have for us on that?
Well, I would definitely look through all of where your money's going and make sure that you're really using, because a lot of us have those monthly subscriptions to many things. Some of them are supportive of our business, and some of them we may not even be using anymore, but we didn't realize we never canceled them. Looking for those things is really important, because every little bit helps. and then find ways to, to get rid of those. Like even, well, a lot of us have moved, like for me, I moved into my home office. So I canceled the cable at the other office, so things, there's a phone service. There's just like little, but they can add up if you find enough of those little things. And so that definitely, I would say that's huge to look at that. What can you really do without type of thing. That's kind of the main thing that you would do right now.
Yeah.
And then there are like, what are other ways? The one area that marketing is probably not the place to cut.
That's probably most people's reaction.
Yeah, but although what you could consider doing is, what are ways that you can make more happen in the marketing area without spending more money, or shift that in some way, because staying visible and in social media and stuff is, and just staying in touch with your clients and all is really important. And that can be done, without a huge budget, depending on what you have in place and stuff. So I would say trying to continue to do that and look for ways to do that without spending a lot is another, in preparation. Right now, so much of it is in preparation for that isn't the norm in for us.
Right.
So, but I would definitely say looking through, you bring up your bank account and look at everything. You can go in and download into like an Excel file, or, and if you're if you're comfortable in Excel at all, you can manipulate the data and see what you're spending where. And just dig through that stuff. Even if you don't have anything else set up, like QuickBooks, of course, you could do all kinds of reports in there. But
gotcha. Okay. So what else should we be keeping in mind?
Let's see. Well, these are the 5 main bank accounts. If you're in a position to start now, like maybe you are one of those businesses that's ramping up, and maybe you're not going to be crazy after this is over, so you want to take advantage now. And so maybe now is the time for you to let's get started full force into Profit First. The first thing that you're going to do is go set up the 5 bank accounts, or use bank accounts. You may have bank accounts. Some people already have bank accounts set up they're not using. But you would have 5 bank accounts designated, one for income, which the money flows in. This chart shows you the money flowing in. And then you're going to allocate by percentage, and that's what's done on the 10th and 25th. So the recommended percentages based on the Profit First book is 10% profit, 15% owner's pay, 10% tax, and the operating expense, that leaves 65% for the operating expenses. So setting that up and just putting that into place is, this is a great way to start with just the 5 bank accounts. After you get into the routine of using the 5, you can also set up more bank accounts. Some people have bank accounts for, they want to buy a new building, or for hiring more employees, or whatever expansion projects that they may want to do. Some people have an account for debt reduction, so you can set up additional accounts and then allocate. You would adjust your percentages accordingly. And there's more. So this is showing the 10th and the 25th. And when you would do the transfers. Oh, all right. Yeah. We're a Q&A.
All right. And I don't have any questions, anybody, from anyone yet. So any other tips that you want to give to us on really working, dealing with our numbers and our budget during this time?
Well, for people who have downtime, this is you're going to have your numbers together if you're going to apply for any of the programs. So
what do you mean by that?
You're going to have your profit and loss and your balance sheet. You're going to need to have your tax returns filed. The information changes daily. Yeah. I believe you definitely have to have your 2018 return filed.
Okay.
You might be able to just go with that, because to get your 2019 filed now and it's not even the due date, that doesn't make sense. So,
Gotcha.
but you know, if you are behind in any of that and you need to get everything together and get that done, now's the time. I mean, if you're not really busy working, get your stuff together, pull it together, have your numbers together, commit to yourself that you're going to keep them together, of course.
Yeah.
You know, that would be my goal for everybody.
Right. Easier said than done for some folks.
Yeah. But it's just this, you know, and if, you know, if it's something, a lot of people who have contacted me say they finally contacted me after they sat there and like tried to make sense of it and struggled over it for like a couple days. Don't wait a couple days to reach out to somebody. There's people, everybody's going through this. Lots of people are struggling with their numbers. Plenty of business owners are behind. It's very entrepreneurial, I think, for smaller businesses. You know, we're trying to do everything. You know, you talk about time, you know, making your time work for you all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to leave the accounting piece fall behind, because most people, that's not a strong suit. It's not fun for most people.
Right.
So if, you know, it's definitely gets put on the back burner, and then you start to feel like, you know, there's actually a lot of emotions around with money, which that's common knowledge. There's a lot of shame that comes with not having it up to date. You feel like, oh, I should be, you know, you feel like a failure as a business owner. All this stuff goes on. It's like, just, you know, tell that to go away. Go ask somebody to help you, because I will also say that those same people, after they've talked to me, who, you know, you don't have to come to whoever, but after we've talked about it and you know, I've helped to get them organized, they feel like a burden is lifted. I hear that all the time. So it's like, don't try and carry that burden by yourself.
Are you currently taking on new clients, and what different services do you offer if people are interested in working with you?
Yes, I am taking new clients. I will do ongoing booking services. I do cleanup stuff, you know, getting people caught up. I'll do consulting where I'll teach you how to do it. So I've had, you know, I had a 3-hour call with somebody where we were doing it together, and then she, you know, so she was taking notes about what we did for the first couple of months of getting her caught up, and then she did the rest and she's been texting me questions. So I will do that. I would, you know, I can. Some people, depending if you don't have a huge volume of transactions, we can get your whole year done in a 3-hour call.
Yeah.
Other people are bringing me, you know, here's 2 years worth of stuff. So, you know, we can get that caught up, give that back to you, type of thing, so that you can go get your taxes filed. We don't do the tax piece ourselves, although I know lots of great tax preparers I can hook you up with. But
gotcha. Cool.
So, and I'm, you know, always doing QuickBooks training. So the other thing would be is if somebody has somebody on staff that they want to do all the stuff, I can train them.
Gotcha.
So that's also the 3-hour call, like, works for whatever, you know, you can
now, is 3 hours usually like we just do a 3 hour, or is it we could do an hour, 2 hours, or 5 hours?
Well, the 3 hours, just like the package is the 3-hour call.
Gotcha. Okay.
It can be, I mean, if there's more time needed, we put more time in. If, the other thing with the 3-hour package, I've broken that up for people, because sometimes it's like, here, I'll teach you this. Okay, you go do something, then we'll come back. You know, it depends what works best.
Gotcha.
And some people just, the attention span, after you're done like an hour or 2 hours, you're like fried. It, you know, it depends what you have to do in there.
Right.
And who it is, you know.
I know. It's funny. I've been doing a lot of these Zoom interviews, and some people it's like 15 minutes is a very long time, while others it's like, oh, we were going for 2 hours, and it's awesome. You know, I mean, that's kind of how life is, isn't it?
Yeah. True.
I can see where numbers, if that's not somebody's strong suit, could be like, okay, I've had enough of this. I need a little break.
Yeah. Or if they're not really understanding what I'm doing, because I've sat and done, like, cleaned up a file with the client, but I'm really doing all the work. So I'm on there, and they're just kind of looking at it like they don't know they're like, I don't know what you're doing. And I'm trying to explain it, but, you know, it depends. Some of it, like, no matter how many different ways. Like I'm fairly good at explaining it in different ways until the words I use make sense to the person, because it just completely depends, like whether you're right brain, left brain, accounting based, like, and QuickBooks is its whole other thing. Like it thinks in its own way. So then sometimes I'm explaining that, like this is an account that's only in QuickBooks and it's designed to do blah, blah, like those things.
Right.
And people get glazed over, and I understand.
I get you. Well, we just have a minute or two left. So is there anything else that you want to share with us and then wrap us up with how we can find you?
Let's see. I would just say, we should all just stay encouraged, because it just doesn't help to not be. I mean, and hope for the best at this point. These are strange times.
Yeah. I don't think anybody looked at 2020 and said, here's my plan for the pandemic that's coming this way.
No, I can't tell you how many of us felt like, yes, this is our breakout year. And we were really doing well January and February, and then boom. I'm like, oh,
I saw a cute meme a couple weeks ago, and it was like, this 2020, or what did it say? It was something like, this week has been the longest year, or something like, and I'm like, we're just getting started in this, they just came out with the stay at home until the end of the month. So we're in for a couple more weeks at least.
Yeah. It's like, there goes April.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So how can people find you if they want you?
Well, my website is clarityfinances.com, and you can schedule a call with me there. You can schedule the 20-minute get to know you call. You can also schedule the 3-hour appointment call there.
Is there a charge for the 20-minute get to know you call?
No, there's no charge for that call. And my email is julie@clarityfinances.com. So those are the best ways. And I'm on social media too. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but not. I'm on Instagram as strategic tithing, so it doesn't even look like me. And but LinkedIn or Facebook are the better ways to reach out to me, because I'm better at using them.
Cool. Well, we appreciate so very much you being with us today and helping us talk about budgeting for profit first and what we can do now to help put us in a good position. So thank you so very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.